Holy smoke! A Cube 360 video? What is this? The end of the world? But in all serious, friends, hello and thank you. Thank you for hanging around for your once a year Cube 360 video. It's that time of the year again, friends, where you get your one video per year. So thanks for staying subscribed. Now, this is kind of an interesting video, kind of a special video. I'm making this video because I have nothing better to do. I've been cooped up in the house for the last few weeks. Why is that? Well, take a look at this. Yes, this is a cast, my friends. I broke my wrist and my elbow. My elbow's feeling a little better, but my wrist, not so much. I'm going on 4 weeks here. A few more weeks in the cast, who knows? But, yeah, so it's kind of prevented me from doing much of anything. I can't play games, obviously. So I thought I would come and do the next best thing other than playing games is coming to talk to you about games. Because I can't do much else right now, unfortunately. So I've been bored as hell watching YouTube over and over again. I've been watching people play games. I haven't been actually getting to play games. I've been doing all the watching a lot of people play Mario Maker 2 lately, but I wish I could play some Mario Maker 2, but it ain't gonna happen. But other than that, I wanted to come and talk to you about something. As you can see in the video description, I want to talk about my favorite games for every year that I've been alive. And the idea came to my head as I was watching YouTube. I was watching this guy on YouTube. He was a movie reviewer, and he came out with a video about the best films for every year he's been alive. And I watched the video, and I thought, hey, it's pretty cool. It's a good idea. And I decided to make my own list. So I made my list of the best films for every year that I was alive. And then I stopped and think, hey, you know what else would be a good idea? To try this with video games. So here we are. I decided to make a list with my right-handed chicken scratch writing, because obviously I can't write here, and boy oh boy, writing left-handed is difficult. Let me tell you that. Doing anything left-handed is difficult. I've been doing so much with my left hand lately, and my wrist is starting to get sore, but yeah, I'm right-handed, and so I'm kind of screwed. I can't really do much, unfortunately. But yeah, I decided to make this list here of the best games of every year I was alive, dating all the way back to 1983. Going forward all the way to this year, 2019. I know this year isn't done yet, but, you know, so far, from what we've found. And yeah, I thought we came up with a pretty fun idea, pretty good list, so without further ado, let's get into it here. Now, a little bit of a disclaimer here before we start. These are not the best games of all time, by all means. Not even my favorite games of all time. Some of them are, but the purpose of this list is to go through the list of games that were released each year, and to find out the best or your favorite game from all of the games that were listed in the year. Now, I used the Wikipedia to compile my list of all the games per year. Just went through the list, picked out the one that I found most interesting or my favorite game per year. But so once again, these are not the best games of all time. A little bit of a disclaimer. Just want to let you know that. And also, this is my list. These are my favorite games. They might not be yours. I'm a different type of gamer than you guys are. I know a lot of people. They like their Halos, they like their Destinies, you know, they like their Titanfalls, they like their Cyberpunks. That stuff is not for me. Get that stuff out of here. Not for me. I'm a retro gamer. I'm an indie gamer. You know, yeah, I like stuff like that. I think indie gaming is the best it's been in years. You know, obviously you'll see that with this list, but also another thing with this list is. There were years that were a little bit more difficult to pick one between the other because there was a lot of great games that came out in the same year. So it was really hard to narrow them down. And the other years there was next to nothing. You'll see that why did he pick that game? But there's nothing else to pick, obviously. So some years have some rubbish because there wasn't much else to pick. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this list. So dating all the way back to 1983, that was the year I was born. Obviously, I wasn't gaming back then, but the best game that I came up with on 1983 was Mario Brothers. Mario Brothers Arcade. You know, it's a fun game, classic game. It's not to be confused with Super Mario Brothers, which came out a few years later. But you know, Mario Brothers Arcade. Yeah, it's not bad. Next one is in 1984. We got Duck Hunt. Now, Duck Hunt's a classic game. You know, grouped with Mario Brothers when it came out on the NES. You know, not much else to say. fun game. 1985, Ghosts and Goblins. You know, it's a notoriously hard game, but for 1985, I didn't find much else that was on the list, and Ghosts and Goblins isn't too bad. 1986, now we're starting to get into the games that actually mean something to me. So 1986 was the first challenging year that I came up with. It was either Castlevania or Bubble Bobble. And I know I picked Bubble Bobble. A lot of people are probably screaming at my screen right now, or at your screen saying, Bubble Bobble? Why the hell would you pick Bubble Bobble over Castlevania? Well, I have a lot of fond memories with Bubble Bobble. When I was younger, my family and I used to go on this trip outside of the city when I was living in Winnipeg to this water park. And by the water park, there was like a hot dog restaurant or an ice cream restaurant, and it had some arcade games in it. And Bubble Bobble was actually one of the games there. So I do remember having fond memories playing Bubble Bobble at the actual arcade. And then when it came to the NES, I obviously I loved it. It was great. They're actually coming out with a new Bubble Bobble next year on the Switch, Bubble Bobble for Friends. I'm gonna pick it up. Obviously, I love Bubble Bobble. 1987 was Contra. Contra is a classic, classic game. And Contra, I wouldn't say it's the best Contra game of all time, but it's the best in 1987. 1988, Mega Man 2. Once again, not the best Mega Man of all time, in my opinion. I know a lot of people are screaming at the screen right now. Mega Man 2 is a lot of people's favorite game. For me, personally, though, it was Mega Man 3 is the best Mega Man, personally, between them all. But yeah, obviously I could put Mega Man 3 on there because it came out a year later and it was a better game, but Mega Man 2 was the best for 1988. 1989, we got TMNT. Now, not to be confused with that notoriously hard Nintendo game, we're talking about the TMNT arcade machine. Now, this was like nothing we'd seen before. Up until now, we're just used to like the Donkey Kong graphics, like not Contra, I'm talking about Jumpman and Tetris and Pac-Man and stuff. And this was released in an arcade with like 16-bit graphics, and it was like nothing we'd see before. 4-player turtle action, fantastic game. 1990, this was another challenging year. As I was making this list, I noticed something. 1990 was the release of 2 very important Mario games: Super Mario 3 and Mario World. Shit. Which one are we going to pick? Well, ultimately, I did go with Mario 3. I have more fond memories with Mario 3. It's just something about, the inventory system, the P-Wings and whistles, and I don't know. That game resonated with me a little bit more. Mario World, don't get me wrong, a fantastic game. Probably my second favorite Mario game of all time. Mario 3, Mario World, and I'd say Mario Odyssey rounds up the top 3 Mario games of all time. But yeah, Mario 3. 1991 is Battletoads. Obviously, if you're a fan of my channel, you know that I'm a huge fan of Battletoads. Probably maybe my favorite game of all time, so obviously, naturally, Battletoads was going to trump anything else that came out that year. 1991 did have a couple other good games on there, but I had to go Battletoads. 1992, TMNT Turtles in Time. Turtles 4 Turtles in Time, not to be confused with the arcade. I find that the Super NES version is a little bit more superior than the arcade. And that's because of the extra levels that were in there, like the Technodrome. But yeah, I like the TMNT on Super Nintendo better than the arcade version. My only downside is you can't play 4 players, but it is what it is, right? 1993. Once again, these 90s years are getting kind of challenging to pick between one game, but 1993 had to go with Battletoads and Battlemaniacs. I know, I'm guilty. I'm a fanboy. I like my Battletoads. What can I say? Battletoads and Battlemaniacs might actually be a little bit better than the original Battletoads. The graphics were amazing. The gameplay was great. They toned down the difficulty a bit. My only problem is it's not quite as long, so it's only half the game as what the original Battletoads was, but it's a step up in every direction. Who knows how Battletoads 2019 is going to turn out, right? Because from what I've seen so far, I'm not too impressed. But that's a whole other story, a whole other video to rant about. Today we're talking about my favorite games for every year that we've been alive. 1994, Another hard year to pick from, but ultimately it has to go to Donkey Kong Country. Donkey Kong Country revolutionized the way games were made and played, and the graphics was so revolutionary for the time being. It was a step forward. Such a great game. I have fond memories. Actually, funny story about Donkey Kong Country. When that game came out, I broke my knee. I was actually in a knee cast when that game came out, so I could at least still game. And I remember playing that game with broken knee all day and night, and I have a great memory of that game. Couldn't do much else. Obviously, now I can't play games now, unfortunately, but it is what it is. What's next? 1995, another difficult year, but this year is the first entry here for our RPG fans. Chrono Trigger comes in for the best game in 1995, and what maybe one of the best RPGs of all time, right? What else can I say? 1996, continuing the RPG trend, we have Mario RPG. What's better when you combine Mario and RPG? Not much else. We're still waiting for Gino and Mallow to come back though. 1997. Okay. Now this is a little bit of a polarizing year. Interestingly enough, a lot of people might think, why was it so hard to pick a game? Super Nintendo was on its way out. Nintendo 64 was the whole shabam now. All about Nintendo 64. Super NES was long gone, and Super NES is my favorite system. So, but surprisingly, 1997, I had a real difficult time picking between three games. A couple runners-up were Turok, Dinosaur Country, Mario Kart 64. Ultimately, I had to go with GoldenEye. GoldenEye is a fantastic game. So many great memories of GoldenEye, playing with friends, 4-player split-screen action. You can't go wrong. GoldenEye is a classic game. I don't know what else to say. All right, 1998. We're starting to go a little bit downhill now. There's a period here, probably between 2001, 2009 or so, where the games were kind of crummy. I do know a couple people that actually stopped playing games during this time of the year, or this decade of the life, saying that games were just terrible. This list kind of backs that up, because I was going through these years and I was struggling to come up with the best game. Like I said, this list is not an be-all, end-all list of the best games of all time. It's the best per year. In 1998, I put Turok 2. I know Turok 1 is way better. It's way better of a game. But 1998 didn't have anything else. Turok 2 is still not bad by any means, but a couple of games later in the year, later in this list, you're going to be like, dude, you put that on the list? Alright, 1999, Final Fantasy VIII, by all means not the best Final Fantasy of all time. Probably somewhere in the middle of the pack, but, when it comes to 1999, there wasn't much else to pick from. 2000 is Final Fantasy IX. Now this one, on the other hand, is actually one of my favorite Final Fantasies of all time. I think I might rank it up there as right under Final Fantasy VI. It's line 3/6, whatever you want to call it. Final Fantasy IX, great story. It got recently released to the Switch. Play it and download it if you haven't. It's so good. It's so good. Okay, so we're entering the 2000s now. 2001, we got
Smash Melee.
I put down. A lot of people would say that is the definitive Smash game of them all. So they're like, yeah, good choice, man, good choice. But, Brawl was
Melee.
fun, but I'd say I still like Ultimate way better.
Smash
Brawl
Melee.
is good, though. 2002, Contra Shattered Soldier. I know you guys are like, what the hell? Of all the games to pick, you picked that? 2000, we'll try to find a better game in 2002. Well, I'm sure you will. Someone will probably pick Halo. But that's not for me. As you see, 2003 now, Mario Kart Double Dash. Once again, not the best Mario Kart of all time. Mario Kart 64 was more deserving to be on the list, but, the better games came out that year. So, we put Mario Kart on at 2003. 2004 Mega Man Anniversary Collection. I know who puts the best game of 2005 as a collection of a bunch of games from the past, but that's me. That's the kind of gamer I am. As you see with this list going on here, there's a recurring theme. You know, you're seeing Contra, you're seeing your Mega Mans, you're seeing your Final Fantasy, you're seeing your Mario. When in doubt, go with what you know, right? You know, those games, Castlevanias, Marios, Contras, they're classics. Go with what you know. 2005. Just case in point, 2005, Castlevania, Dawn of Sorrow. You know, another classic game, another classic franchise. This was a sort of fun game. I know there's been a lot of Castlevania games, but this one introduced a lot of elements of RPGs into the Castlevania universe. I know it's been done before with like Symphony of the Night, but I feel like it was perfected here. So, 2006 Mega Man X Collection, like I literally just said, this list is reoccurring games. Mega Man, Contra, Castlevania, over and over again. Mega Man X. It's deserving of a spot on the list. And since, you know, we couldn't put Mega Man X on 92 or 3 or whenever that game came out, obviously it gets a spot here in 2006. 2007, what do you know? Contra 4. It's like these years just keep recycling themselves. Contra, Castlevania, Mega Man. What can I say? Like I said, when in doubt, go with what you know. So Contra 4 is a fantastic game. 2008, Mega Man 9. Yeah, once again, you know, you can't go wrong with your Mega Man. 2009. This is actually a great Mega Man. There's been a lot of Mega Mans since, but I feel like this was actually a real return to form. Great Mega Man game. Up there with Mega Man 2 and 3. Mega Man 9 was a fantastic game. 2009, New Super Mario Brothers. You know, it's a fun game. It's kind of returned to the old school 2D Mario with the worlds and the Koopa Kids, and I had fun. Not as good as Mario 3 or Mario World, but you know, for the time, best of the year. 2010. Okay, we are starting to get into the heavy hitters again. So as you've noticed here, it was top games at the top, and then it went down again, and then there was 10 years period. Now they're going to get back up again. In 2010, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the video game. Fantastic game. The problem with this game here is it's actually been removed from the digital marketplace. You can't download it anymore. There's like licensing issues, and that's actually one of the biggest problems with downloadable only, digital only games. But that's a whole other video. You know, it's a whole other rant, whole other video to talk about. But DuckTales recently got discontinued. So that's the problem with these games that are digital only. They get pulled and you can't get them again unless you have them physically downloaded to your console. You can play them then. So luckily I still have mine downloaded to my Xbox 360, but it's pretty much the only reason to hook that system up, eh? Actually, no, it's not, because this next game is on there as well. 2011. Hardcore Uprising. Yes, this game is absolutely fantastic. Made by Konami. I'd say it's like a spiritual successor to Contra. It basically is a Contra game. It has the word hardcore right up in there, which is a homage to Contra Hardcore. It plays almost identically to a Contra game. The word Contra isn't actually in the title. But if you haven't played this game, you have to check it out. You have to absolutely check it out. If you're a fan of the Contra games, you have to check it out. Okay, what do we got? 2012, New Super Mario Bros. U for the Wii U. You know, another average game. 2013, Game & Wario. Oh boy, yeah, you're probably thinking, what? There had to have been a better game in 2013.
Hold the phone there, Cube. Hold the phone. There is no way in hell that I'm gonna let you put this video up to the public stating that Game & Wario was the best game of 2013. No, 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 no. No. Not at all. You're out of your mind. How about a little game called Angry Video Game Nerd Adventures? 2013. Surely you never did your research. Best game of 2013 goes to The Angry Video Game Nerd Adventures.
2014. Okay, so now we're getting back into the heavy hitting games here. Shovel Knight, fantastic, absolutely fantastic game from Yacht Club Games. They knocked it out of the park. Indie game in the vein of like Castlevania meets DuckTales meets Mega Man, and it's so much fun. Such a fantastic game. Everyone and their grandmothers probably played Shovel Knight by now. Great game. 2015, Super Mario Maker. You know, Super Mario Maker is what at one point was the definitive game that would go on forever. It's like, you know, it's the be-all, end-all game that just would never go out of style. You'd never get bored out of it until Mario Maker 2 came along, that is, recently. But yeah, for a while there, Mario Maker 1, as long as the community was sitting there uploading games, there was always content to play. So it always kept it fresh. It was a great game. With Mario Maker 2 now, I don't see, that's probably the more definitive version that you should get and play. Mario Maker 1, man. Okay, 2016. Boy, we got a very polarizing game here. We got a very, very, very polarizing game here for you guys for the best of 2016. Okay, so here's the controller right here. And I know what Lars is saying right now. Phone games! Ah, get that garbage out of here. Yes, 2016 Jackbox Party Pack 3. That is my favorite and best game of 2016. Jackbox is a collection of random mini games by the makers of Beetle and Jack. They're up to 6 versions now. This year will be the 6th version of their party pack that has mini games that you play with your phone. Your phone is your controller. You can write, tap, vote. It's really fun. I think it's fantastic. Jackbox Party Pack 3 was actually one of the better ones of them because it actually has Quiplash 2, Trivia Murder Party, and Faking It, among a couple others. But those are three of the classics. Every time I have people over, you know, for a game night, I find that we generally do go back to Jackbox Party Pack 3 a lot. Just because those games are classic. They never get old. They're really fun. So yeah, if you're looking to try something new, other than a traditional video game, download the Jackbox Party Pack. Your phone is your controller. It's great. 2017. Okay, one of the best indie games of probably of all time of our generation is Cuphead. Yes, I had to include Cuphead as the best game for 2017. Hands down. Animation's fantastic. It's like a run-and-gun shooter, Contra type game. This game recently came out for the Nintendo Switch. I'm waiting for a physical copy. There's also some DLC coming next year, which is going to be bundled with the physical copy, so I'm going to repurchase that. I bought it for the Xbox, but I'm going to purchase it for the Switch, a physical copy when the DLC comes out, and that's probably one of the best games of all time. I might put that in my top 10 games of all time, but yeah. Okay guys, we got 2 years left here, 2 years left. I know it's been a little lengthy of a video, but what can you expect when you're talking about 36 video games from your life? Number 8, 2018 is Octopath Traveler. Yes, the triumphant return to RPGs into our list here. There's been, there was an absence of RPGs for 15 years, and rightfully so. I actually stopped playing RPGs probably in the early 2000s, 2002, 2003. Maybe like Final Fantasy X, Breath of Fire 3 or 4. Those might have been the last couple games that I'd actually played. And I just didn't have time for RPGs. They're very time consuming. You got to invest a lot of hours in them, and there's this other stuff that you have to do. Unfortunately, life gets in the way, right? Look at this, case in point. But yeah, 2018 came back with Octopath Traveler. I downloaded the demo. I was hooked. It's like an old school Super NES RPG. Think of like Chrono Trigger meets Breath of Fire meets Final Fantasy. It was excellent. Hours and hours and hours put into this game. 100+ hours. Best game of 2018, hands down. And that brings us to 2019, friends. And I know 2019 isn't done yet, but obviously I can't play any more games right now. So I'm gonna come up with the best game I did play before this injury happened. And 2019, the best and my favorite game of this year so far has been Bloodstained: Ritual of the Night. Amazing, absolutely amazing game. It was a Kickstarter game from the original creator of Castlevania. It was in the works for like 5 years or something ridiculous like that. When it did come out, there was a lot of polarizing opinions on it, because a lot of people felt like the game wasn't released, or it wasn't finished upon release, and there was bugs, and there was glitches, and they rushed it out, and they were comparing the Nintendo Switch version to be absolute garbage compared to the other versions. I got the Nintendo Switch version myself, and honestly, it was playable. It crashed a couple times. I didn't notice anything too bad. I mean, when you jump to another screen, the loading time was a little bit lengthy, but all in all, I didn't really suffer. The gameplay didn't suffer. Fantastic game. Now, I unfortunately didn't get to complete the game because of my wrist here. This injury happened before I got to complete the game. I did get 90% complete the game. I did not beat the final boss. I did not get to the final area. I was very close to. I put it down, and then this happened a couple days after. So I was really addicted to the game, though, when it came out. I got it when it first got released, and like every night I was playing it for like 2 to 3 hours a day. It was fantastic. I couldn't put it down. I'm sad that I can't pick it back up again for a few more months until this gets healed, unfortunately. But yeah, there we go, guys. So that's my list. That's my list of my favorite games every year that I've been alive, from 1983 all the way to 2019. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it was really lengthy, but this is your once a year Cube 360 video that you guys are going to get. So thank you very much for watching. And do remember, it was my list, not the best games of all time, just the best of each year that I found. I did this for movies as well. So if you guys are curious to know what my list for movies is, leave a comment below and let me know. So yeah, I'd be interested to see what your favorite movies each year were. But yeah, this is my list. Favorite games every year. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.